Welcome to Forbes special interview. My name is Soraya Turk and I will be interviewing today Mr. John Paul. John Paul is currently the multi-country organisation lead and general manager for Sanofi Genzyme in the Greater Gulf, a global biopharmaceutical company focused on human health. Prior to this, he was country chair and general manager at Sanofi Gulf from 2016 to 2020. He has been in the pharmaceutical industry for 24 years and has experience in diversified business, having worked across prescriptions, rare diseases and genetics. A French foreign trade advisor since 2008, he is the current vice president at CCIFI France, a board governing the 123 French chambers of commerce in the world. He was recently re-elected as a member of the board of directors of the French Business Council for 2020 to 2022. He's consistently ranked amongst the Forbes top 100 executives in the Arab world. I'd like to welcome John Paul. Without further ado, John, my first question for you today is, Sanofi has been named as the thematic sponsor at the France Pavilion at Expo 2020. Why is it important for a healthcare company such as Sanofi to be part of this?
Well, thanks a lot for your warm welcome, Soraya, first, and I'm really
welcome.
super happy to have the opportunity to have this dialogue with you today. Well, I mean, it's very important for a company like Sanofi, I mean, which is really dedicated to healthcare area actually, and we see ourselves not as a pharmaceutical company actually, but as a healthcare company today. I mean, to contribute to this major event. One of the topics of this event is sustainability, and sustainability obviously has a lot to see with, I mean, bringing better health to the population, and this is why we feel a responsibility in being committed and engage in this very important event. So we have decided to partner with the French Pavilion actually to make sure that we will be able to showcase the best of what a company like Sanofi, I mean, which is really focused on bringing innovation in treatments in various therapeutical fields, and in particular like oncology or respiratory diseases, cardiovascular diabetes, to make sure that we can showcase, I mean, the power of the R&D, the new technologies that are going to be the treatment of tomorrow, I mean, that are going to bring the treatment of tomorrow, and how a company like Sanofi is contributing to improve the health of the population.
Thanks very much. So can you tell us a little bit more about what visitors can look forward to when visiting Sanofi at the France Pavilion?
So we'll have a focus in particular, I mean, during the 2 weeks which will be dedicated to healthcare actually, which will be general during the expo, which will be from the 21st of January till the 3rd of February. And here we are going to showcase, I mean, different and various things around pharmaceuticals. So we're going to have, for example, I mean, a focus on research and development to show I mean, how this is working, what are the constraints, what are the successes, I mean, how is the research and development of a new product moving forward. We're going to also showcase, of course, I mean, what are the innovations that a company like Sanofi is going to bring, in particular, I mean, in using new technologies to research and to create new treatment for diseases, actually. And we are already looking at the future in science. Today, when we talk about these future treatments, we are going, of course, as well, I mean, to showcase some of the major activities that we have been doing around diabetes. And in particular, we have a program, a partnership which has been signed 6 years ago with the authority in the United Arab Emirates, and which is dedicated to bringing some care to kids actually with diabetes, but also, I mean, working on making prevention right from the young age in school. Actually for this young population. So we are going to explain all these kind of projects, I mean, to show, I mean, what a pharmaceutical company and a health dedicated to healthcare can really bring to the population. We are super proud to be a partner in this fantastic journey that is the Expo 2020, and we are really looking forward to show again, yes, I mean, what is the key critical role that a company like Sanofi can play in bringing a better sustainability and a better health and a better life to the population in the future.
Thanks very much for that. And I can definitely see the passion resonating through the answers to that question. It's very exciting. Looking forward to being a part of that. So my next question to you is, what changes and developments have you witnessed in the regional market over the years? And how do you see the growth prospects looking ahead?
Well, I would have given to you a much different answer, I mean, if you had raised to me this question in February 2020, right? I mean, the past 1.5 years have obviously, I mean, transformed, I mean, not only the healthcare industry, but the overall society as we know, and no need to come back to this. So obviously it has also transformed significantly, I mean, the market and the overall organization around healthcare. Somehow, actually, some trends have been reinforced. Some trends that we could see before have been reinforced, but it has also, I mean, highlighted again, I mean, even more some unmet needs actually that we need to fulfill, bringing new treatment. I will give you an example. Last year, despite the situation, despite the slowdown actually provoked by the COVID-19 crisis, so, I mean, Sanofi has launched more than 20 innovations in the Greater Gulf region. And that really shows, I mean, that how much we are committed, really, whatever the situation, to continue bringing new solution, new treatment to patients. We have launched treatment in atopic dermatitis, in asthma, in oncology, actually, which are really today, I mean, critical treatment for some of the diseases that we wanted to address. Of course, we have some deep trend, I mean, related to the constraint of budget, and we see that the countries more and more are working on restraining, actually, I mean, restricting and decreasing the budget allocated to treatments, and that's quite normal. This is a global trend, but that has appeared in the region around 5-6 years ago. I mean, this pressure on the cost of health, and that has obviously been reinforced within the past 1.5 years because, I mean, a lot of budget have been dedicated in parallel to fight against the COVID situation, and of course, I mean, the budget in healthcare has been increased significantly. So we have to play our part. We are adapting. We are partnering with the authorities to find solutions, because again, I mean, the critical objective of all of us, actually, health authorities, healthcare professionals, and the healthcare industry, is to make sure that patients can get access to the treatments they need. So we are working together to find solutions, but obviously the pressure which is coming from the health authority is much stronger. We've seen also, I mean, much more, a significant improvement in the rapidity at which the authorities are registering products, new products, and that also shows a commitment of the authorities in all the countries on which we operate in the region into bringing the new products, I mean, as soon as possible to the population. And I'm really, really impressed by the commitment of the health authorities towards this, actually. So we have also a responsibility in making sure we can match this expectation, but the way the authorities today are working to really speed up the registration of new products is very impressive. But again, with the only objective, which is to bring new innovative treatment to the people who need it as soon as they are available. And generally, I mean, in the region is among the first 2-3 countries, I mean, in particular in the UAE or in Saudi Arabia, I mean, among the very first countries in the world after the US, and even sometime before Europe, actually, to get access to the new treatments.
Thank you very much for that. That was great insight. And I know we looked globally at the Middle East region, if we can put it that way. But if we just take a little bit of a focus on Saudi Arabia, can you talk to me more about the presence in the kingdom? You know, being an employment player in the country, how is Sanofi contributing to the Saudi Vision 2030?
Saudi Arabia is obviously, I mean, as for most of the companies, right? I mean, a priority. I mean, it's very high of the agenda of the company. I can tell you that even at the head office, actually, they are very strongly and closely following up, I mean, all our operation in the kingdom, because this is considered as a priority country, obviously. And the best example of, I mean, is that we have been significantly investing already in Saudi. We have been the only, and we are so far still the only company which have been investing, I mean, with 100% stake actually in a factory in the kingdom, I mean, which is located not far from Jeddah. We are today manufacturing 20 million boxes actually in this factory per year. We have around 200 employees, and more than half of them are Saudi nationals. So we are also very much contributing, I mean, to this Saudization move. And this is really a proudness that we have been able to create this job in the kingdom. We are also, I mean, considering new industrial investment, I mean, in particular in insulin and vaccine. And these are projects that we are discussing today with the authorities. We are partnering also very strongly with healthcare professionals and health organizations to bringing even more education to healthcare professionals. We are working as well with the Saudi FDA actually to, as I was mentioning before, to bring innovation in a much faster way to make sure that patients get access to them. So there is a very, very strong partnership, industrial partnership as well with the health authorities to ensure that and to showcase again, I mean, how much our presence in this country is important. We have today, I mean, around 400 people working in Saudi for, around 450 working in Saudi for Sanofi. Again, this shows a very strong commitment of the company in this country. So very, very clearly, a clear focus, a clear readiness to continue working even more. I mean, I will just give you a recent example. We have agreed with the health authorities, with the Ministry of Health, to open asthma clinic actually to make sure to bring better care and better treatment to asthmatic patients. And we know in the region that the prevalence of asthma is very high actually. Mm-hmm. So yes, we are really digging into a more private-public partnership with the authorities and to as well actually find ways to reinforce even more our industrial presence in this country.
Very impressive. So you've told us really clearly about Sanofi and how it's playing a role in the development of the medical sector today. I guess, what are the most important contributions and medical innovations that you feel Sanofi has really led in recent years?
Well, again, I will mention that for the products. I mean, and the fact that we are bringing so many innovations today, I mean, to the market is really remarkable. We have a fantastic pipeline of new products to come. But I think the first way for us to contribute to this is really, first of all, to bring new therapeutic solutions to patients. And you've mentioned it at the beginning. I've been working for more than 25 years in the pharmaceutical industry. And you know, if I've decided to keep working in this industry, it's because I have really this strong feeling of a duty and a mission, I mean, and that I share with the rest of my team. I mean, that we are really bringing, I mean, and improving something in the society. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm really want that my day will be dedicated to making something good actually that will directly impact positively patients. And when at the end of the day, I was just discussing with a doctor, actually a dermatologist in Saudi Arabia just before our meeting today, and she was describing, I mean, the life of a patient with atopic dermatitis and how much a treatment actually that we have launched a couple of years ago have completely changed the life of this patient. And you know, when you hear this, then you feel useful. You feel that you've done something good, actually, somehow contributed to improving the life of these patients, and that gives you an incredible excitement, incredible enthusiasm, but even more, an incredible responsibility that you need to keep the momentum, keep moving on to make sure that you will be getting more successful stories as this one actually to bring, I mean, even more care, better care to these patients. So that's the first way we contribute, and honestly, this is again, we are not working in the pharmaceutical industry by hazard. It's because we have a duty, it's our DNA to really, I mean, commit and dedicate our time, our efforts, I mean, to improving the life of these patients. The second way we've been contributing, obviously, is of course as well in the work that we are doing with healthcare professionals, I mean, in trainings, in working with them. You know, I mean, last year we have been spending more than 20 million dirham actually in education and in projects dedicated to healthcare professionals. That's a very significant amount, but again, that shows the commitment of the company. We have been engaging more than 25,000 healthcare professionals through digital projects actually. So again, yes, that shows what we can bring, again, with a lot of transparency, I mean, with a lot of ethic. But I mean, how we can contribute as well to reinforcing and strengthening, the role of the healthcare professional, and again playing the role that and the responsibility and accountability we have towards the society and of course, the health authorities. And the last way we are doing it is, of course, through programs that we have been implementing in cooperation with the Ministry of Health in different countries. I was talking to you about this kids program. Actually, we have been enrolling more than 60,000 kids actually in this program. I mean, giving them good ways of living, good ways of eating, training them as well how to care about some young patients that they can have in their classroom and that could be diabetic as well. Educating, I mean, teachers as well on how to behave actually, I mean, if they have a diabetic patient. So, of course, we are not doing that directly. We are training nurses, we are cooperating with health authorities. But again, if we take diabetes, and we know that in our region, I mean, we have a very, very significant prevalence. And again, this highlights, this gives an example of the kind of the role that the pharmaceutical industry and a company like Sanofi can play in the society. And again, the mission that we see, giving to ourselves actually this responsibility to really move forward, with all the actors in healthcare actually.
It really is impressive, and you can, there's so many examples evidencing of the impact and I think contribution that you're making to the health environment, which is really brilliant. I guess what I want to ask you more about now, and perhaps let's explore together, is how did Sanofi support the world through the pandemic? So, the last year and a half, it's been a huge hype around the pandemic. How did Sanofi really step in, and what did Sanofi do during that time?
So, obviously, we had two momentum, right? I mean, first toward our employees, and we had the responsibilities toward our employees as well. And I think, the way the company has been managing this period, with only keeping in mind, the protection of our employees has been absolutely remarkable. I remember actually, receiving an email from our CEO actually a week before any country has made a lockdown. So anticipating it really, because he had this care first for us and asking us not to go to office and to stay at home. And that has been done even before most of the countries made this decision. So it's just remarkable, and a testimony of how much actually the company has been caring first about their employees, its employees, and I feel really proud of what the company has been doing. Then supporting people psychologically as well when they were facing some difficulties, supporting them actually when they were facing as well, troubles and health issues. So that has been the first way we have been for our 100,000 employees contributing to this. And of course, in Greater Gulf, we have done a lot of efforts as well to make sure that we would have the same impact for our people. Now, of course, this has not been enough, and that's the second part of the answer to your question. We have done a lot as well, to contribute to the fight against the COVID. First, by our industrial mobilization and the supply chain. Today it looks a little bit far away, but if we remember a year and a half ago, we did not know anything about this virus. It was very scary. We didn't dare to go out. But still, we had some people going out and going to work, because these people felt a huge responsibility because we could not stop producing our product. So every people involved in industrial affairs and in bringing the products to the patient in supply chain have been continuing relentlessly despite the risk, to work. We are often talking, and of course I have a huge admiration for all what the doctors, nurses, pharmacists have been doing during this pandemic time and the risk that they took for us as people. But we don't mention enough as well what people have been doing, in particular in the pharmaceutical industry, but not only, to make sure that there will be no disruption in the availability of treatments that were so critical for patients to continue living. Actually, when you talk about insulin, treatment of rare disease, we have done a lot to make sure that people will continue to get access to their treatment. The third thing that we have done as well is all the program, again, to bring critical treatment, for patients who really were depending on it, to their home of people. Some people, especially like in rare disease, and you may know that Sanofi is very much involved in rare disease, could not go to hospital because these kids are very fragile, and moreover, most of the time these hospitals were closed. During the height of the pandemic, the peak of the pandemic. So, but we had the duty to make sure that these patients will continue taking their treatment because their life was in danger if they could not get access to it. So we have been organizing actually and training nurses, organizing home infusion, to make sure that people will get access. And we are proud to say that more than 90% of the patients had no disruption in their treatments, actually, when it comes to rare disease treatment. The same for insulin,
Brilliant.
the same for cardiac patients, the same for oncology patients. So that's really a proudness. We have been also organizing infusion for people with multiple sclerosis because, again, their life and their quality of life as well, but also their life as simple, were really much depending on the capacity to get access to this product. So, yeah, that's also way. It has been a lot of work for my team, and I have an immense respect and proudness for all my team actually here in Greater Gulf for their involvement and commitments. They have never been giving up on anything and trying to find solution for each patient by patient to make sure that each of them will get access to their treatment. Then the fourth way is, of course, at a more global level, what Sanofi has been doing. We have been involved in a lot of clinical trials, actually, on some of our products in our portfolio to try to see if these products could be effective or not for the treatment of COVID. We all remember last year, all the everything that happened around hydroxychloroquine. Sanofi is the major producer of this product. Yeah, all the communication around this, and actually we have been investing a lot in the clinical studies, in a very urgent manner, so that we could check if actually this product had some benefits or not in the COVID treatment. So that's also the way we have been contributing, to try to see if in our portfolio we had some treatment which could really bring something. And this is an investment. Each clinical trial is costing tens of millions of euros, right? So that has been as well, another contribution that Sanofi has been making. And last but not least, of course, is in terms of vaccine. We have been working in an urgent manner on the development of 2 vaccines in parallel. And this development has been done internally, unlike actually other companies which have been bringing vaccine a little bit earlier because they have been partnering with other companies actually and biotech. The choice that we made actually is to develop internally our vaccine. It has been a little bit longer, but that's also, the risk of research and development. But what I'm proud is that we never gave up as well. Despite actually, some first results which were not at the level of our expectation, we have been continuing to develop this vaccine. We didn't give up like some other companies did actually. And the first results of the phase 1/2 that we have been communicating in June are very positive. We will be communicating final results on this vaccine mid of November. And we have very strong expectation that this result will be good. These vaccines have been developed in different situations, so we are really going to bring additional solutions actually with this vaccine. In particular, in the sense that this is a vaccine which is based on like a vaccine for flu, so we know it very well actually. We know very well the technology, we know very well the production. It's a vaccine which is not as costly as the others. This is also a vaccine which is easy to keep. So we are going also to bring solutions in particular to countries who today do not have access or an easy access to vaccination. So this is going to be as well a contribution of Sanofi, and we are extremely proud of it. And then in the first quarter of next year, we will be hopefully bringing as well a mRNA vaccine actually, which is also completely developed internally. So we are not going to bring only 1 but 2 vaccines, and that has been a major contribution. The last one, I'm sorry, I'm making a very long answer, Soraya, but
No, we'd like to hear from you. Please go on.
But probably you've heard actually, and that has been an incredible contribution as well. Sanofi has partners, with other actually vaccine producers actually to bring its manufacturing capacity actually to produce faster more vaccine actually. And we have been partnering with 3 companies, like Pfizer, for example, to manufacture their vaccine in our own factories because, again, here, in fighting against COVID, there is no competition, right? We need all to be mobilized. We have all been partnering, actually, and I'm really, truly proud, again, of my company because we didn't care that we would compete, we would not compete. That was not important. At the end of the day, what was important is that whatever we could do could contribute fighting against COVID, we would do it. And again, our CEO and all the executive committee of the company had this only dedication and commitment. So very quickly, we have signed this partnership with 3 companies, again, to bring our manufacturing capacity to them. And again, I think that's part of the major contribution the company had in fighting against COVID-19.
Well, we definitely look forward to some positive results and to hear some updates on that in the very near future. All the best with it, all the best.
Inshallah, it will be positive.
Inshallah, yes. So, Mr. John, you've been a French foreign trade advisor since 2008, and you're currently vice president at CIFI France, a board governing the 123 chambers of commerce in the world. You were also recently re-elected as a member of the board of directors of French Business Council. How important is the trade relationship between France and the Middle East? What are the biggest areas of opportunity, and how do you plan to increase these collaborations further? So we did hear a little bit about that already, but how do you really plan to increase the collaboration even further than what we've heard today?
Well, I think the presence of France in this region has been historically very important, right? And the tie between each countries of this region and France are very, very strong. And I mean, we can see, I mean, the number of ministerial visits that we have in this region. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Again, on the 2nd of October, I mean, we will have ministers coming for the Day of France during the Expo 2020. And that's, again, a testimony of how important this region is for my country. And I feel very proud because, I mean, this is indeed a very prospectful region full of opportunities. And to get actually, I mean, the support of my country actually, and to see how much this country is involved in this region in various areas, actually, this is obviously, I mean, a real promise. I mean, be it in defense, in the oil area, in the pharmaceutical as well area, we've mentioned it, and in a lot of different others area, I mean, in consumer goods and so on. That's a real promise. This region is a major region for French investment. We are one of the major and one of the among the first investors in this in the Gulf region. So obviously the tie between the Gulf countries and France are extremely important and extremely strong. And that's a promise for me. I mean, you've mentioned, and thanks a lot, Soraya, I mean, the different responsibilities I may have, I mean, aside of the one I have amongst, I mean, within Sanofi. But if I'm doing this, it's because I really want to support the development of the French companies in this region. I mean, to showcase the attractivity of this region actually to French companies, but also, I mean, to help them to exploit all the opportunities that we have, and they are so numerous actually, because I mean, I don't know many regions which are more, I mean, business friendly than this one. The authorities are doing an amazing job to really make sure that we can develop business and cooperation with them. So yes, I feel responsible as well with these different hats that you've mentioned to really make sure that we can contribute somehow to reinforce even more the economic links and ties between, I mean, the Gulf countries and France. And I'm happy to have my very, very small contribution to it.
Well, thank you so much, John, for those answers today. Your passion and commitment to the healthcare really shone through all of your answers, and we're really looking forward to seeing the positive results coming out of the vaccine trials that Sanofi is currently doing. And we also look forward to seeing you at Expo 2020 and the amazing, I guess, contribution that you're going to make across the Middle East going forward. Thank you very much for your time today.